Hey all, here at OS Reviews. You're watching our video first look, and it's a quick review of the Moov Classic. This is a digital fitness coach. So it uses AI-based software to know the posture that you're in when you're swimming or if you're running, and then it tells you to either run faster, slower, keep up your pace, and it helps you with endurance training. You can think of it as having a private coach for your fitness activities. It's definitely smarter and has more unique features than the typical fitness tracker, which is why I was curious enough to pick one up. Now the Classic is actually the first generation model. It's actually been out on the market for 2 to 3 years now. The latest version is called Moov Now, and it has a slightly sleeker, more elegant design and sells for about $50. The reason why I picked the Classic instead is because it has a rechargeable battery as opposed to the current one, which has a cell-based battery that you need to replace after 1 or 2 years. So for me, I thought this would probably last me a little bit longer and keep the costs down. Furthermore, it has all the same features, supports the exact same software as the newest version, so yeah, I can still fully test it out without worrying about compatibility issues. So the pricing of the Moov Now is about $50, but the Classic, since it's a little older, can be found on Amazon for under 20 bucks. So it's very, very low cost compared to the original MRSP of around $150. So it's a steep discount. All right, so let's take a quick look at the packaging here. It's very simple. It just has kind of the Moov stamp. Go to their website to learn more and to download the software. Right on top, we have just the disc, which contains the sensors. Now, this does not have a optical heart rate sensor, just like on the newer Moov Now, which means that if you're looking for more specific analytics on your heart rates, it's not going to be found here, but it will coach you through things like performance because it will track your steps and, of course, your posture and orientation, things like that. It's slightly different from something like a smartwatch because there is no display either. It's just completely round. There is a circular LED ring, though, that will tell you the status of the battery and the connection. Down below here, we have access to the quick start guide and product warranty information that is pretty well documented. Tells you how to set it up, how to charge it, and what the lights correspond to. Has a pretty elegant and modern design, in my opinion, although not as cool looking as the newer Moov Now. Inside here, we have a micro USB cable for charging, and this is what the cradle looks like. It's a very small cradle. It uses pogo contact pins, and you simply snap it into place like this to charge it. Has a slight slamp to it so you can more easily see the lights in the dark in terms of its charging status, and it simply pops out like this. Now, there are 2 bands included in the packaging, which may seem confusing at first, but it's actually necessary. The first band is to transform the Moov into a classic wristband format, just like a smartwatch or any other fitness tracker. You can wear it on your wrist, left or right, and this is used for certain tasks, such as for boxing and other cardio activities and games that they have, versus this one, which is supposed to be worn around your ankle, around your legs, which is why it has a much longer length. It's elastic and it's pretty comfortable. You wear around your legs when you're using the running, jogging, and that will better track both the steps you're taking as well as the speed of your pace. So it will tell you either to walk faster or to run faster depending on the workout session you're choosing. So a very interesting overall package. Again, the bands themselves are pretty comfortable. They're made out of a silicone material. They're one size fit all, and this is what the unit looks like when you have it attached on. So not the thinnest tracker in the world, as you can see, compared to the Amazfit Bip, which is a more smartwatch-like device, but at the same time it still is manageable, and since it has these interchangeable straps, it basically means you'll be changing the orientation of how you wear this anyways. It's not meant to replace a watch. It links to your phone using Bluetooth, and the app is called Moov Coach. You can find it both for iOS and Android as a free download. What's interesting is that the software here actually just is a very light installation, and you can find many types of activities inside that they've customized the Moov for. So for instance, things like walking, running, and also for boxing, there's a lot of these different activities, and since it doesn't want to take up too much space on your phone, you can download separate activities by yourself within the app later on. So you simply tap on download, and that will take a few seconds to download the complete workout session and the software associated with it. So here's what the basic app looks like. On the main screen, we just have our activities. You can set up a daily tracking or a daily goal, and it tells me what my last workout was. So again, it's dynamic and it's moving using artificial intelligence. So it definitely is is slightly different from your average fitness tracker for sure. So it tells me brisk walking was what I performed last, and then also I can look at their newer devices. There seems to be one with a heart rate sensor, but that's a extra added on accessory, and then all the workouts that I have currently on here, from cardio, boxing, swimming, cycling, biking, and circuit training. So let's try the cardio boxing first. It's actually pretty cool. It uses the sensor like a almost like a Wii remote. It uses the accelerometer, so it detects the motion, the speed, the velocity, and the angling. And then after you're wearing it, it will tell you how to properly box and to hit these targets in the air in the same style as Dance Dance Revolution, or kind of like a Wii game. So it's very interactive, it's very fun, and you can change the levels to correspond with that. Now, the cardio mode, if you think about it, works best when you have one of these wristbands on either hand, because if you only wear on your left hand, it's only tracking your left kind of fist. So it supports connecting up to 2 of these bands using the app. So if you want to buy a second one, that's the best optimization for cardio boxing. But all the other activities can be fully tracked using just one Moov tracker. So that's something to keep in mind. All right, so let's try the cardio boxing, and it tells me, I had 255 hits, average of 3 minutes per round, different types of difficulties, and it gives me quite a lot of statistics to track and look at. So again, pretty detailed in terms of what the software is trying to do, and fairly accurate. Now, why the hits here seem to be a little bit low is because it's only tracking one hand. The software, is still giving me the targets for both hands, so I'm missing about half of them, which is why you see that difference. So I'm going to start this workout, and the phone is the display, so you want to set it on a table where it's standing up vertically. It tells me the signal strength, when it was last connected. Now we are connected, and we can continue to the workout. So continue with just one move, and placing on my left wrist, I can now shake or punch, and you can see how that corresponds to a motion on screen to test if everything has been properly set up and calibrated, and it is. So now we can continue. You can start with basic training, and it will actually guide you through a few basic kind of motions like jabbing. This is what that looks like, crossing, and 3-hit combo, hook, as well as an uppercut, and finally a 4-hit combo. So it trains you on these basic moves before starting into kind of their games and training processes. The best way of describing this would be, again, like having a fitness coach or almost a sergeant in your ears, because there is a voice or an audio part of the Moov ecosystem. So you can either have the speakers on for your phone, or you can again plug in headphones when you're outside and running, and it will tell you to move faster, move slower, control your breath, change your posture, things like that. So it's pretty intelligent in that sense. All right, so let's change the volume, and that starts a light warm-up mode, and it tells you how to position yourself.
Left foot forward.
And then how to
Hands
step.
by your cheeks.
And of course,
shoulder width apart.
now the target is here. You can punch. As you can see, a punch will correspond to a target being hit as it reaches this line. If you miss it, nothing happens.
Your punches out quickly.
And it tells you also to snap your punches out quicker or slower. So that's the end of the session, and you can actually see it tells you some statistics, like how many grams of power you're packing into your average punch, how many milliseconds is your reaction time, how fast your fastest hits targets, and your speed, 10 miles per hour for average, things like that. And it actually does help you kind of break a sweat. If you actually are keeping up, you're not just trying to fool the sensor, it actually does a good job of giving you a pretty realistic kind of workout experience. And now it's going to train through different types of foots, and the accelerometer actually does a good job of detecting motion. So you can see there it tells you keep your hands up. So basically, if it's sensing that you're kind of slacking and you're not in the correct posture of waiting for a punch, by putting your hands slightly down, it tells you to put it back up. In the same way, it tells you to rock your body gently, so make sure you're kind of bouncing on your feet when you're waiting for the targets to arrive and not just standing still. So it detects all of that data in addition to the speed, and of course if you're hitting the targets. So the software is actually doing a surprisingly good job, and it's actually a fun way to try out cardio boxing. The more advanced difficulties have the targets pop out at really rapid speed, so you have to do all these complex punches and sequences, and that actually works pretty well, I think, for some light training in the house. So end this workout session, and it tells you how much time you've spent, how many calories you've burned, and also some statistics which are visualized in a pretty attractive way, in my opinion, your rounds and also your details. So if I tapped on something like brisk walking, you can also tell it if you're on a treadmill for better accuracy. And it tells you a little bit of a description, your performance on this particular task, how to wear it around your ankle. So this would be the time to pop this out and then physically change it onto the other strap. So this is a process that requires a little bit of handling back and forth, which is, I guess, one of the only downsides to the Moov that I found was that it's not something that's quite as seamless as other trackers that you wear only in one position. So here it recommends a phone or wired headphones because there's going to be audio coming out. After pairing, it's going to give you a sound check. It's also going to tell whether you want to add a heart rate sensor as a separate accessory, and you can skip those if you want to. And this is what the level 1 is like.
Cadence and range of motion so you can run further while using less energy. For this workout, you'll need to pass at least 3 intervals. Between each interval, you'll take a short rest. A 2 minutes warm-up is recommended now. Press play to start the first interval at any... Alright, the first interval will start in a moment. I'll guide you step by step through this first one. We're aiming for at least 160 steps per minute today. Get ready. 2-minute interval starts now.
So now it's going to start, and again, depending on the number of steps that you're taking, it's going to measure your cadence based on your steps. And based on how you're performing, this is kind of an indicator of your motion and your movements. It's actually going to tell you to go faster, slower, how to change your steps, and it will tell you if you're on target or not. So all those things are actually done in a pretty nice way. It also tells you your steps per minute in the separate kind of app here. And there's also the ability to change the level. So changing a level will increase the difficulty. You can see the cadence level goes up, so it tells you to go faster now. So all those things can be, again, visualized down below. The time remaining until you complete this particular circuit before it goes on to the next, and you have to complete a set of, let's say, 4 or 5 for the workout to end. So again, the coach, does sound a little bit jarring, and
steps per minute, and you are averaging. Keep moving. Let's finish the interval.
And so you can hear how, again, the voice prompt in your ears isn't exactly calm. It's definitely not something that is a kind of passive tracker by any means. It definitely is something active. And that is the main selling point of the Moov, having that artificial intelligence and that process that doesn't just give you the data, but actually tries to use that data to improve the user experience. Definitely not for everyone, but I guess if you're looking to improve your health or improve your actual fitness and movement goals and kind of a calorie burning goals, this is actually a good way to take this to the next level compared to a regular tracker. So that's more or less it as far as the Moov fitness tracker is concerned. Again, you can customize a lot of things using the app, not only the the training sessions, but you can also take a look at your history. So we did 2 minutes of cardio boxing there, and we hit 51 targets. And we can also take a look at your profile. If you've unlocked any achievements that they give you, you can also share it with social media just for fun, I suppose. Set up other activities and take a look at your progress. Finally, you can take a look at the leaderboard to compete with friends and family that also have a Moov or a Moov Now. And that's more or less it. So this is by no means the type of tracker that you would just wear and forget about it. It's not designed for that. It doesn't have sleep tracking. It doesn't have continuous heart rate monitoring built in. And you have to recharge it after you use it for, I would say, a day or 2. But it's meant to be kind of an active coach. And for that, it actually does a surprisingly good job because the sensors, in terms of the accelerometer, is well calibrated. The cadence, as well as the speed, and all those other measurements are well done. And the software is actually surprisingly good for a relatively new company and product. So that is the Moov Classic. Overall, I think this is a good fitness coach type tracker. In fact, it's kind of unique on the market because of that. And at the price of under 20 bucks, it really is something that I think if you're into workout, if you're into fitness at home, is worthwhile to consider. So thanks for watching this video here at OS Reviews. This has been our video hands-on review of the Moov Classic.